Hi class, this is Russ again. Uh, I want to go ahead and finish up my thoughts on Module 1 critical thinking assignment for this week, uh, dealing with the simple example of inheritance. So let's go ahead and show you some thoughts. Now, what I'm doing here, you're not obligated to do. These are just some thoughts. Um, One thing I would like to mention about the checking account class. In the previous video presentation, I left the method to display the account information for a checking account named toString. Well, this could be somewhat problematical. I don't want to go too much into the technical details, but if I left it like this, there could be a potential problem of a stack overflow. So what I need to do is I need to actually give this method a name other than toString. Otherwise, it'll induce an infinite loop. And if you need convincing, go by all means go ahead and try, and you'll see that the program will fail. But anyway, I will call this display account. Okay. So I'll rename the method that way, and everything else being the same. Let's see, and I think I can go ahead and use this dot get interest rate, and what else? Yeah, so we should be good to go. And bank account, this I can use this dot get last name. Okay, and this right here. So I'm just going to use this for self-reference to self-reference the method. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, so now to finish off my thoughts for this particular assignment, we need to be able to exercise the methods of these two classes, okay? And so how can we do that? Well, one of the things, that's one of the essential aspects of this class is when you develop complicated classes, super classes using inheritance like this, you must verify the functionality of the methods developed in the class. And that's what this test driver that we're going to work on today, right now, deals with. So what I generally like to do is I like to create a loop that loops indefinitely until a user terminates a loop that exercises the functions. So basically, the way I usually construct a loop is I'll have a flag like this, okay, and what I'll do is I'll prompt the user for inputs, okay, and so the user has the choice of depositing money, okay, or the user has a choice of withdrawing money, or the user could end this session, right? Okay, so all right, so this would be our prompts, and then we prompt the user for input, so we need to store the input somewhere, and so, okay, so we have something like this, and of course we need to deal with the exit condition. So, um, so if input dot equals what? D for deposit, or input dot equals Q, check that W for withdrawal, okay, then we do something, right? So we'll decide just a second while we deal with that. But I always like to defend against the loop terminating condition first. So else if input dot equals Q, uppercase Q, then we set the flag done equals true. Okay. All right, and that exits our loop. Okay, so this is our loop. All right, so the first thing we want to do is, all right, so go back to this if statement, if D or W. The first thing we want to do in this if statement is we want to prompt the user for an account ID and a dollar amount. Now remember, account ID, if I wasn't clear last time in the previous lecture, is what? Right here. This is the identifying information for a given account. You know, every bank account has an account ID, so and that's the identifier for the account. So we need to prompt the user for an account ID, which is an integer. In this case, so I'll just call it num, and I'll initialize it to 0. Okay, so the account IDs will start with 0 and increment unit by units. Okay, so prompt the user system.out.println enter account number and amount. Okay, and so we do this. So the first number we'll ingest is an integer. So now, I usually like to defend against spurious input. Suppose the user enters something other than an integer. Well, we don't want the program to crash, so if the user enters something other than an integer, we'll catch it in the catch portion of a try-catch block, and we'll say, okay, something like this, system.out.println. Please enter a valid account ID integer. Okay, all right, so we'll admonish the user to enter an integer. And where do we go after this? Well, what we do is we start over with the loop. Okay, that's what the continue block does. The continue block will send execution back here to the while statement. All right, so assuming the user is honest and does enter an integer, we'll extract it from the console, like so. Okay, and we'll store it in num. Okay, all right. So the next thing we want to do, of course, is ingest the from the user the amount. So, all right, now the amount is a double, right? So, assuming the user does something other than plugging in a double, we'll need to handle that as well. Okay, and so invalid numeric type entered for amount. Please enter something like this, dollars and cents. Okay. Okay, so this will be like a admonish the user for entering invalid input. So, okay, so that shouldn't be there. We're good. Let's see, invalid. Oh, I need to close it, right? Okay. Okay. All right. And then, of course, where do we go after the admonishment? Well, we'll go back to the beginning of the while loop. So now, so what is this? So we need a variable to store the amount, right? So we'll go double amount equals, we'll initialize it to 0. Okay, at the start of the loop. Whoops, I have my parentheses in the wrong place, don't I? I need to switch the direction. I need to cast it like this. Okay, all right, okay. So now, so double, so amount equals what? In dot next double. Okay, like that. Okay, so now we kind of input our account ID and the amount we're dealing with, and now we need to test whether this is a deposit or a withdrawal. Okay, so again, to defend against invalid input, I'll develop a try-catch block for the transaction type. Okay, so if input dot equals deposit. Suppose we want to deposit. Okay. Okay, input equals then the particular account we're processing, which is indexed by ID num -1. Okay, dot, and what do we do? Oops, account, it's plural, right? Accounts, okay. Dot deposit amount. Okay, look at that, it auto-filled it. So we go ahead and throw that money into the account. And then once we deposit money, we'd like to know that the deposit was successful. So we'll go system.out.println the given accounts dot what print. Can I do that? Accounts. Okay. Dot. I don't have my display. Oh, it's a display account, right? Display. I forgot the name of the method. Display account. Here we go. That will print the information about the account. Okay. Yeah, so it's always a good idea to echo back out what you input. So what can go wrong? Well, conceivably, the user could enter a spurious, bogus account ID. So like, for instance, 1 million is the account ID and there are only 4 accounts. Okay, so we need to guard against that. And the way we do it is we go java.lang.array index out of bounds exception. Suppose the user entered -1 for the account number, right? That would be silly. So we have to defend against that. And then, okay, so we could say system.out.println invalid account number entered. Okay, and of course we don't want to terminate the program. We'll just send it right back to the beginning of the while loop. And the account number and the amount are lost. Okay, so that takes care of depositing. Now, if we don't deposit, what happens? The withdrawal, right? So I'm just going to be lazy and make that an else. That's probably not the best thing to do, but so we take the given account ID with the given amount, and what do? We want to accounts. Okay, so one thing before I proceed with this, I would like to make an adjustment to the withdraw method in the checking account. When we withdraw money right here, process withdrawal. Oh, I already do. Okay, so it already. So I need to modify this super dot. Yeah, I don't want to use the toString because that'll cause an infinite loop. Let me modify that. This is what? Checking account, process withdrawal. Account summary, right? Process withdrawal, super dot get balance less than 0. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to be more informative about the withdrawal message. So if the balance is less than 0, what I want to do is I want to do a super dot turn super dot account summary. I want to print the account summary. Okay, and then I want to post the interest rate. Interest rate equals, okay. And then string dot value of, I need to grab the interest rate. So this dot, this dot interest rate, okay. And then what? It's a percentage, right? Percent, close. And then, of course, we need to assess the fee. So okay, we can say a fee has been assessed. Assessed. How do I spell assessed? Okay, possessed. Okay. And then we close it and then do that. Okay. So that would be the informative message for a overdrawn, right? And then if we're good, if we withdraw and we still have a positive balance, then we want to do a display account. Okay, so right here. Okay, so those are some adjustments I wanted to make to the checking account withdrawal method, the output. Okay, so now back to our main accounts, num -1 dot display. Is it display? Is that where I was at? No, process withdrawal. Sorry, process withdrawal amount. Okay, okay. So we do that. And then we have our Rayada. Okay, so I think we're good to go. Okay, so now just to reiterate, we do a loop that checks the methods of the classes. And during the loop, when we're prompting the user for inputs, we validate the inputs through the use of catch blocks, try catch blocks. Okay, we defend against bogus input that could harm our program or cause it to crash. And we also manage the exit condition for the loops to make sure that the program does terminate. So I think we're good to go. So let's see what happens. Okay. All right, so first name, let's call it Donald Trump. Okay, that'll be our account number 1 holder. The second account holder, we'll call it Barack Obama. I guess that's how it's spelled. Okay. And then account 3, we'll call it George Bush. So those are our 3 account holders. All right. So now let's go ahead and deposit money. Okay. So the account number, let's put money in for Donald Trump. So let's put $1.50. Okay. And so there's the message. So first name Donald, last name Trump, account ID 1, balance $1.50, interest rate 75 cents. Okay. So now let's see what happens when we withdraw $2 from Donald Trump's account. Okay. So we hit W, uppercase W. So account number 1, $2, and we should see, oh, before I proceed, notice that the number formatter kicked in and used the currency format. See, we didn't type in the $sign, the currency number formatter did that. Okay, okay, and now we overdrew the account, and you see the parenthetical mark, so now he's showing, you know, you got dinged with the $30 overdraft fee, and then $1.50 minus 2 gives you negative 50 cents, and you tack on the $30. Okay, so now let's go to account number 2 and say a dollar amount of $3. Okay, all right, and so Barack Obama now has $3 in his account, and let's go ahead and deposit another $3 into his account. Okay, now he's up to 6. See how it added? Okay, and let's withdraw $6.01. Okay, so from account number 2, so $6.01. Okay, and look at that. Oh my gosh, he got dinged $30 and he has a 1 cent deficit. Okay, all right, and so you get the gist of how the program works. And finally, if you've had enough of this, you can just type uppercase Q and then the program ends. Okay, so please, if you have any questions about what I just discussed, feel free to post your questions or concerns in the Module 1 discussion forum. You don't have to do your critical thinking assignment this way because I did it somewhat hurriedly. I'm sure you can think of a better way. And yeah, so yeah, good luck with that. And any questions, please let me know. So have a great day.